What if nothing in your life has ever been random? Not the heartbreak, not the silence, not even the loss you still can't explain? What if every moment, even the ones that shattered you, was part of a quiet, sacred design? Most of us grow up believing life is a series of accidents, lucky breaks, wrong turns, coincidences stitched together by chance. But Buddhist wisdom invites us to look closer. It whispers, everything belongs. Every joy, every pain, every delay is part of an intricate unfolding meant not to hurt you, but to wake you. Think of your life as a vast tapestry. From where you stand, you only see the knots, the tangled threads, the dark colors, the places that seem to make no sense. But from the eye of wisdom, from the perspective of Dharma, every thread is in perfect alignment. Every shadow gives depth to the light. The heartbreak you thought ruined you, maybe it was sculpting empathy. The silence you hated, maybe it was teaching you to listen. The loss that broke you, maybe it was clearing space for something truer to arrive. Life doesn't speak in thunder. It speaks in symbols, in coincidences, in whispers. When we slow down enough to listen, we begin to see that the so-called random events are actually messages, the universe nudging us toward awareness. The delay, the rejection, the fall, all of it carries intelligence. In Buddhism, this is the law of interdependence, or pratityasamutpada, the truth that everything arises from causes and conditions. Nothing happens in isolation. Your sorrow is linked to your awakening. Your confusion is part of your clarity. Even your mistakes are not detours, they're part of the path itself. And perhaps the reason we suffer so deeply is because we keep trying to make sense of the picture while standing too close to it. We judge the unfinished canvas instead of trusting the painter. But every spiritual tradition, and especially the Dharma, reminds us, the universe is not punishing you, it is preparing you. Every ending is a seed disguised as loss. Every fall is an invitation to rise in a new way. So when things fall apart, pause before you call it failure. When a door closes, resist the urge to curse the silence. Instead, ask softly, what is life trying to show me here? Because the truth is, what breaks you may actually be the doorway to everything you've been seeking. Imagine this. If you could look back 10 years from now, you might realize that the heartbreak you're grieving today was the exact event that redirected you toward peace. That the silence you feared was loneliness became the soil of your deepest understanding. That the loss you thought ended your story actually began your awakening. There is an intelligence beneath everything, subtle, invisible, but constant. The same intelligence that tells flowers when to bloom, oceans when to rise, and stars when to burn is the same intelligence moving through you, arranging your experiences for your growth. So the next time life pulls you into darkness, don't assume you've been abandoned. Sometimes the universe turns off the light not to punish you, but to help you see what only the dark can reveal. This is what the Buddha meant when he said, within every suffering lies the seed of liberation. Your pain is not the proof that life is against you. It's the invitation to see that life has always been for you. What if nothing is coincidence? What if every heartbreak, every silence, every loss, was never chaos at all, but guidance, written in a language your soul is finally ready to understand? 1. The crack is not your flaw, it's your doorway. You know, life has this quiet way of breaking us open when we least expect it. One day everything seems solid, your plans, your love, your identity, and the next, a crack runs through it all. A word you never heard before, enough. A goodbye you didn't see coming. The sound of your own heart fracturing in a room that suddenly feels too silent. For most of us, that's the moment we think we're falling apart. But from where I stand, after years of studying the Dharma, and watching hundreds of lives unfold, I can tell you, that crack is not your flaw. It's the beginning of your becoming. In Buddhism, suffering isn't a punishment, it's an opening. The crack isn't there to shame you. It's the space where truth can finally breathe. When life takes away the illusion of control, what remains is something terrifyingly pure, presence. The kind that doesn't hide behind titles or roles or other people's validation. Imagine a simple clay pot. When it's perfect, it's just a vessel, functional, ordinary. But once it cracks, light finds a way in. Suddenly, what once only held becomes something that glows. That's what pain does to the human heart. It lets the light seep through the places we tried so hard to seal. I've seen people in monasteries, in hospitals, on city benches, people who have lost everything, and in their eyes, after the tears, there's a kind of stillness that no comfort ever produced. That's the quiet gift of pain. It strips away the noise until only truth remains. So don't rush to fix yourself. Don't cover the fracture with false smiles or forced positivity. Sit with it, hold it gently, like a sacred wound. Listen to what it's saying. Maybe it's calling you home. Maybe it's reminding you that wholeness was never about perfection, but about presence. In that stillness, light enters. In that surrender, you remember. The parts of you that cracked were the ones brave enough to feel. And perhaps that's the most sacred thing about being human. We break, and through those breaks, we finally learn how to shine. 2. Delays are not punishment, they are divine preparation. There are seasons in life when everything feels painfully still. You give your best, you plant every seed, and yet, nothing seems to grow. The world keeps moving while your life feels paused, like you've been forgotten between chapters. But my friend, silence is not absence. In Buddhist wisdom, this stillness is the sound of preparation. Think of the bamboo. For years, it shows no sign of life above the ground. No leaves, no shoots, not even a whisper of green. And yet beneath the surface, it is busy, building roots, anchoring strength, preparing to rise. One day, almost overnight, it shoots upward, tall, unshakable, graceful. People call it sudden. The bamboo calls it ready. Life works the same way. What feels like delay is often sacred alignment. You are not being denied, you're being deepened. Every unanswered prayer, every door that won't open, every long quiet stretch where you question your worth, these are the hidden classrooms of the soul. They teach patience, humility, surrender, the virtues that no achievement can give. In Buddhist teachings, patience, khanti, is not waiting in despair, it's trust in unfolding. When life whispers, "Not yet," it is really saying, "Not until you're strong enough to hold what's coming." The universe, or what we might call Dharma, never withholds out of cruelty. It waits for clarity. It wants you to meet your destiny without trembling hands. If you are in that still place right now, where nothing blooms, nothing moves, please know, something is moving. The roots are growing deep. The soil of your heart is being prepared for a bigger light. This is not wasted time. This is foundation time. Breathe and whisper gently to yourself, "I trust the timing." Because one day, you'll rise like that bamboo, swift, steady, radiant, and you'll understand, the waiting wasn't empty. It was holy. The silence was not punishment. It was protection. And the delay was never a denial. It was the quiet art of life getting you ready for what you were always meant to become. 3. What falls away reveals what is true. There comes a season when something you've loved begins to slip away. A relationship, a dream, a version of yourself that once felt like home. At first, the heart calls it betrayal. Why would life take this from me? But years of studying impermanence have taught me this. Loss is not life's cruelty. It's life's clarity. In Buddhism, impermanence, anicca, is not a threat, it's a promise. Everything that fades is simply revealing what was never truly yours to hold. Just as the tree releases its leaves in autumn, your soul too must shed what it has outgrown. The tree doesn't mourn each falling leaf. It knows spring will ask it to bloom again. It lets go, not because it stops caring, but because it trusts the rhythm of the seasons. So when people drift away, when chapters end, when life peels away the layers you clung to, breathe. Don't chase what's falling. Don't curse the wind that carries it. What's leaving is simply clearing the space for what is real to arrive. I've seen it in my own life. Friendships that faded taught me honesty. Dreams that dissolved gave me freedom. Heartbreaks that shattered me showed me the shape of my own heart. We spend so much energy holding on, thinking our grip will preserve love, meaning, or identity. But the truth is simpler, quieter. What is true will never need your grip to stay. When the unnecessary falls away, what remains is authenticity, the part of you that no storm can uproot. Letting go is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I trust that what's meant for me will never require me to betray myself to keep it. And as you release, You begin to see the beauty beneath the emptiness, that sacred stillness when the branches are bare. Yet life hums quietly underground, preparing the next bloom. So if you're standing in the middle of your own autumn, watching things fall, don't despair. Bow gently to what's leaving. Thank it for its lesson. And look closely at what remains. Because what stays, your integrity, your compassion, your awareness, that's the truth. That's the part of you that no season can take. 4. Rejection is not a wall. It's redirection. There are moments in life when a door slams shut so suddenly that the echo feels like rejection itself. You stand there, heart racing, staring at the space where possibility used to be, a job that slipped away, a person who stopped choosing you, a dream that ended before it began. And in that silence, the mind screams, I failed. But with time, and a little stillness, you start to hear something quieter, wiser. You were spared. In Buddhist wisdom, rejection isn't punishment, it's protection. It's karma turning you away from a fire you were never meant to walk through. When life blocks your path, it's not to confine you, it's to redirect you toward alignment. Toward something that fits your soul instead of your fear. I've watched people fight to reopen closed doors, forcing their way back into relationships that had already finished teaching them, begging for jobs that would have drained them. And when they finally surrendered, they could see what was hidden all along, that the no wasn't cruel. It was compassionate. Think of water. When it meets a rock, it doesn't curse or collapse. It curves. It adapts. It finds another way forward. Soft yet unstoppable. That is the art of wisdom, moving without resistance. Trusting that redirection is not delay but precision. The ego wants control. It wants to decide what is meant to be. But the Dharma teaches that everything unfolds by causes and conditions. What you call rejection may simply be the universe adjusting those conditions so your path stays true. Sometimes what you wanted would have cost your peace, your authenticity, your light. The no saved you from that unseen fire. So when the door closes, breathe. Step back. Bow to it. You don't need to break it open. You need to trust the current that's carrying you elsewhere. Because one day, looking back, you'll see the pattern, how every closed door secretly turned you toward your real home. What felt like loss was a hidden act of grace. And the path you're walking now? It only existed because life loved you enough to say no. 5. The soul grows where comfort ends. Comfort is a beautiful trap. It feels safe, familiar, warm, but it's also where the soul forgets how to grow. And life, in its quiet compassion, will not let you stay asleep for too long. So it cracks your comfort open. It sends the unexpected, the loss, the ending, the uncertainty. It tears the ground beneath your feet, not to punish you, but to wake you. In Buddhist teaching, the lotus never blooms in clear water. It needs the mud, thick, dark, messy. Without that struggle through the murky depths, it would never reach the sunlight. The same is true for us. We say we want awakening. But when the mud comes, we call it chaos. We forget that the chaos is the practice. I remember once hearing a monk say, when life becomes too easy, beware. The Dharma might be getting ready to deepen you. And it's true. Growth is never graceful. It's the sound of an old self breaking apart, of illusions collapsing, of identities melting so something purer can take their place. In that dismantling, fear rises, and that's where the real training begins. Every challenge that shakes you is a mirror showing you where you still cling. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every uncertainty, they are teachers disguised as storms. They come to test how deeply you've understood impermanence, how willing you are to trust the unfolding instead of controlling it. So when life cracks your comfort, don't rush to repair the walls. Sit in the rawness, let the old structures fall. This is where courage is born, not in perfection, but in presence. Breathe through the breaking. Whisper softly to yourself. This, too, is part of the becoming. Because the soul does not grow in the sunlight of certainty. It grows in the storm, where the mind trembles, the heart cracks, and the old self finally surrenders. And when the storm passes, you'll realize something sacred. You didn't just survive. You transformed. The mud didn't drown you, it made you bloom. 6. Loss is not the dark, it's the lantern. Loss is one of life's most misunderstood teachers. When it arrives, it feels like the world has dimmed, like the light has gone out of your days. The room is the same, yet everything echoes differently, softer, emptier. You whisper to yourself, "I'll never be the same." And the truth is, you won't. But that's not a tragedy. That's transformation. In Buddhist understanding, nothing we love is truly ours to keep. Every bond, every joy, every moment exists only through dependent origination, a web of conditions that arise and pass away. When those conditions change, things dissolve. It's not cruelty, it's the natural rhythm of existence. Loss, then, is not darkness. It's the lantern that teaches us how to see in the dark. Each goodbye, however painful, illuminates something you once overlooked. When a loved one leaves, you discover the depth of your own tenderness. When a dream collapses, you finally see which desires were rooted in truth and which were born from fear. When the version of yourself you once admired falls apart, you meet the one beneath, raw, honest, alive. The paradox is simple yet profound. What once broke you now becomes your guidance. The heartbreak that left you shattered now teaches compassion. The failure that bruised your ego now humbles your heart. Loss refines you. It burns away illusion until only wisdom remains, the kind you can't learn from comfort, only from letting go. If you're walking through loss right now, don't rush to fill the silence. Sit with it, let the ache be sacred. Light a candle, close your eyes, and feel how love still lives, not in possession, but in presence. Because nothing truly loved is ever lost, it simply changes form. It becomes the insight that whispers, "Cherish what's here, release what's gone, trust what's coming." One day, you'll look back at what you thought was the end and realize, it was the beginning of seeing clearly. The lantern was lit the moment everything else went dark. And since then, it has never gone out. 7. Not everyone is meant to stay, but all leave light. Some souls do not come to walk beside us forever, they come to awaken us. They arrive like shooting stars, brilliant and brief, lighting the sky just long enough for us to remember that beauty exists. And then, they move on. I used to believe that every person who touched my life was meant to stay. That love, friendship, connection, if it was real, it would last. But Buddhism taught me something gentler and truer. Impermanence doesn't make love less real. It makes it sacred. Because it reminds us, every encounter is a meeting of karma. Two streams crossing, exchanging light, before flowing on their separate ways. Some people are sent to teach you strength by leaving. Some to teach you tenderness by staying just long enough to open your heart. Others to mirror your hidden wounds so you can finally see where healing is needed. Their duration doesn't define their purpose. Even the briefest encounter can carve a lasting truth into the soul. I think often of a student I once taught years ago. He stayed for a single retreat, just 1 week. But in that time, his questions, his silence, the way he listened, it changed how I understood teaching itself. He reminded me that listening can be a form of love. And then, like wind, he was gone. I never saw him again. But his light stayed. It still guides me when I teach. This is how life works, a constellation of souls meeting for moments, exchanging lessons, and then drifting apart. The pain comes when we cling to forever, forgetting that temporary can still be meaningful. The Buddha called this non-attachment, not indifference, but freedom to love fully without ownership. So when someone leaves, whether in distance, silence, or death, try whispering not, "Why did you go?" but, "Thank you for coming. Thank you for the laughter. Thank you for the lessons. Thank you for the light you left behind." Because the truth is, no one ever truly disappears. They live inside the ways they changed you, in your compassion, your wisdom, your capacity to love deeper next time. Every soul leaves footprints of light. And when you look within, you'll see, those traces are what made you who you are now. 8. The universe is not punishing you, it's redirecting you. There are times when life feels like it's falling apart piece by piece, when everything you built begins to crumble in your hands. The relationship ends, the plans collapse, the future you trusted dissolves overnight. And in that moment, it's easy to whisper, "Why me? What did I do wrong?" But the longer you walk the path, the more you realize life is not cruel, it's precise. In Buddhist teaching, suffering, dukkha, and impermanence, anicca, are not punishments. They are invitations. They appear not to harm you, but to awaken you, to show where you're still holding on, where illusion has replaced truth. When the ground gives way beneath your feet, it's not karma's revenge, it's compassion reshaping your path so you can finally walk where you were meant to go. Think of a river meeting a boulder. The current doesn't scream, it doesn't fight, it bends, swirls, finds another way, and still reaches the ocean. When your plans collapse, that's the river in you learning to trust its own flow. What feels like a detour is often direction, life's quiet correction steering you from what would have limited your growth toward what will deepen your soul. Sometimes the universe whispers softly, and we ignore it. So it sends a stronger wind. Not to destroy, but to reroute. Not to take from you, but to return you to yourself. I remember once losing everything I thought defined me, the work, the identity, the sense of belonging. It felt like death, but in that emptiness, I discovered something terrifyingly beautiful: stillness, freedom, the awareness that my worth was never tied to what I built, only to the awareness witnessing it all. That collapse was not cruelty, it was grace disguised as fire. So when the storm hits, breathe. Don't curse the rain. Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Because storms are not meant to drown you. They arrive to show you that you can breathe underwater, that your peace doesn't depend on the weather. And when the sky clears, you'll look back and see it. Every fall, every ending, every wrong turn was actually a hand gently turning your face toward the light. The universe never punishes. It redirects. And every detour you've ever taken was destiny, unfolding in silence, waiting for you to trust its design. 9. The quieter you become, the more life speaks. The world today is loud, unbearably loud. Everyone rushing, talking, performing, proving. We fill every silence with noise, every pause with movement. But here's the quiet truth I've learned after years of walking through both the chaos of cities and the stillness of monasteries. The louder the world becomes, the softer wisdom speaks. The Buddha didn't shout his teachings, he sat beneath a tree in silence. Because truth doesn't compete for your attention, it waits for your awareness. It's not hiding, it's whispering. It speaks through breath, through instinct, through the delicate pulse of the present moment. But to hear it, you must first stop running. When you finally sit down, not to meditate perfectly, not to achieve anything, but simply to be, something miraculous happens. The noise begins to fade. You start to notice small things again. The sound of your breath like waves on a shore. The warmth of light on your skin. The quiet rhythm of your own heart. And within that stillness, a different voice begins to speak, not the mind's chatter, but the soul's knowing. It says, you are safe, you are enough, you are home. In Buddhism, we call this sati, mindfulness, the art of seeing clearly. It is not about escaping life, it's about meeting life without distortion. When the mind is quiet, even ordinary things, a cup of tea, a bird's song, a single inhale, reveal the sacred. You begin to realize that peace was never something to chase. It was always here, buried under the noise of your own striving. Try it sometime. Turn off the music. Put away the phone. Close your eyes. And just breathe. Don't look for meaning, let meaning find you. Don't force calm, let calm remember you. Because in that silence, life finally has space to speak. And what it says is never complicated. It says, you've always been guided. You've always belonged. You were never lost, only distracted. The quieter you become, the more the world reveals its rhythm, and you realize that the silence you feared was never empty. It was full of guidance, full of love, full of the home you've been seeking all along. Nothing that happened to you was random. Every heartbreak, every delay, every loss, all of it has been a sacred invitation to return home to your own heart. The universe has never conspired against you. It has always been conspiring for your awakening. So take a breath. Trust the detour. Because the light you've been chasing outside has only ever been trying to lead you back within. In moments like these, when the world feels fragile, When storms rise and wars tear at the edges of our shared humanity, may we pause and remember what the Buddha taught. Hatred never ends by hatred. Only by love is it healed. Let us hold a silent prayer, not just for ourselves, but for all beings everywhere who are walking through suffering. May the hearts of those trapped in conflict find peace. May the hands of those struck by disaster be lifted in compassion. May every creature touched by fear, hunger, or loss feel, even for a breath, the warmth of loving awareness. And may we, in our small ways, become instruments of that same light, steady, gentle, unwavering. The Buddha's wisdom doesn't promise a world without pain, but it does promise a way through it, together, awake, and kind. So as you leave this moment, carry one thought. Perhaps the chaos of our time is not a curse, but a calling, a collective awakening, urging us to remember that beneath all our differences, we breathe the same air, grieve the same losses, and rise from the same silence. If these reflections have touched something inside you, take a moment to subscribe to Dharma Veins, a space where ancient wisdom meets the heartbeat of the modern world. Every video here is created to remind you of one truth: that no matter how dark the night, awakening is always within reach. Now, I invite you to share your heart in the comments below. What event in your life once felt like a mistake, but now you see it as guidance? Your story might be the light someone else is waiting to find. Thank you for walking this path with me. May you walk gently. May you love deeply. And may the light of the Buddha's compassion continue to guide all beings, through the storm, through the silence, and back home to peace.